Have you ever looked at your credit card statement, seen that interest charge, and just thought, ugh, there has to be a better way? Well, there's a pretty big idea floating around that promises exactly that. Today, we are diving into the credit card cap conundrum.
So here's the proposal. What if we just capped all credit card interest rates at 10%? I mean, on the surface, that sounds like a huge win for pretty much everyone with a credit card. But is it really that simple? Let's dig in.
To really get why this is such a hot topic, you just have to look at this number. Right now, the average credit card APR is a staggering 24.1%. Yeah, all of a sudden that 10% cap doesn't just sound good, it sounds like a dream come true, right?
So, just so we're all on the same page, the idea on the table is a hard ceiling. It wouldn't matter what cards you have or what your credit score is, the interest rate could never, ever go above 10%. But how could something like this actually become a reality?
Well, the first thing you have to understand is the political side of it all. A change this massive doesn't just happen overnight. In fact, there's a pretty significant congressional roadblock.
You might be thinking, can't the president just sign an executive order and make it happen? And the answer is, nope. This isn't something that can be done with the stroke of a pen. Financial regulations like this are way more complex and they need the full legislative process to become law.
It's a long road. First, a bill would have to be introduced in Congress. Then it would have to be debated and actually passed by both the House and the Senate. Only then could it land on the president's desk to be signed. That is a massive political hurdle to clear.
Okay, but let's just imagine for a second that it did pass. What would actually change for you, the person holding the card? This is where we get into some really fascinating and maybe even costly trade-offs.
Right. Think about it. Banks make a ton of money from that 24% interest. If you suddenly chop that income stream way down, they're not just going to say, oh well. They're going to find that money somewhere else. The question is, where?
And here we have a pretty direct warning from financial analysts. That money would probably come from the very things that make us love our credit cards in the first place, all those juicy rewards, and the fact that many cards don't cost us anything just to have.
So you can kind of see the trade-off here. Right now, we live in a high-interest world, but in exchange, we get these really great rewards and often low fees. The proposed world, sure, you get low interest, but the perks, they could disappear, and the fees, they could go up.
And we're not talking about some minor changes here. This list covers the stuff we all know and love. That cash back you get on groceries, the travel miles you're saving for a vacation, even that extra purchase protection you get on big items. All of it could be on the chopping block.
And it's like a 1-2 punch. On top of losing the perks you earn from spending, you could also end up paying more out of pocket every single year. You know that card in your wallet that's free? It might suddenly come with a pretty hefty price tag.
So, let's get to it. What's the final bottom line here? When you weigh it all out, what's the real cost and what's the real benefit to you?
The trade-off is actually pretty simple to see when you lay it out. You get one massive pro, a much lower interest rate, which is amazing if you carry a balance. But that comes with two pretty significant cons. You could lose all your rewards, and you'll likely be paying higher annual fees.
And this is the real takeaway. A cap like this wouldn't just be a small tweak to the system we have now. No, it would fundamentally transform what a credit card is. It would become a totally different product, especially for those of us who pay our bill in full every month.
So ultimately, it all boils down to this one question. Is a lower rate worth living in a world without rewards? Now, if you're someone who carries a balance, that cap could be a total lifeline. But if you're not, you'd be giving up a ton of valuable perks for a benefit you literally never use. So, which world would you rather live in?